Come on in.
Hello everybody, it's Eric Holmgren, your local historian, and today I am joined by Nancy Murray, who is the Vice President of Instruction for the Placentia Founders Society. How are you doing today, Nancy?
Just fine. Thank you so much for being here, Eric. We really appreciate all your efforts on our behalf.
It's my pleasure. So we're here in front of the historic Bradford House.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Bradford House?
Well, the Bradford House is the historic home of Placentia. It is listed on the National Registry of Historic Homes, as the plaque shows. It was opened in 1905 by the Bradford family, the family of Albert Sumner Bradford, who we consider the father of Placentia.
Okay.
Because there were other men around, but he really did a whole lot to set up the city. And we are proud of the things he did. Without him, I'm not sure the city of Placentia would be what it is today, nor would Orange County. He was very instrumental in breaking Orange County away from Los Angeles County. So we're very proud of the home. It's currently operated by the Placentia Founders Society. The house actually belongs to the city.
Okay.
But when they were going to tear it down, we formed a nonprofit to avoid that. And we, as a nonprofit, rent this house from the city for $5 a year.
Okay.
And we are responsible for all of its upkeep and use by the community.
Okay.
And Albert Sumner Bradford, AS as he liked to be called, came here from his home state of Maine, although stops in Massachusetts. Interesting career. He's worked on the railroads, he worked on fishing boats, but mainly he worked in horticulture, agriculture. Okay. And he came from his native Maine with stops in Massachusetts, took the train, and this was where he was going to make his fortune, in California.
Well, and apparently he did, because at the time that he's building this, he has a very large, I don't know if you want to call it an estate, but a very large farm and groves and everything else in the area. Is that correct?
Correct. He called his ranch Tesoro Ranch, which in Spanish means treasure. And he arrived in 1887, and by 1890, after working a few years for someone else, he wrote in his diary, "I have just purchased 20 acres, and the property is lined with palm trees."
Okay.
And as you can see today, many of those palm trees still exist, and we're actually located on what is Palm Drive, Palm Avenue in the city of Placentia.
Very good. So some of these palm trees then are over 100 years old?
Some are, yes. In fact, that would have been, the house is 120 years old, so
right.
They were here when he moved in.
Wow.
And he added to that original 20 acres, eventually ending up with over 55 acres, and adding little by little. And planting citrus trees. Of course, the property was much different, as you can imagine. There were no homes, there was no shopping center behind the house. There were citrus trees, vegetable garden for as far as the eye could see. This would be all mud, more than like, with a curved driveway, dirt coming up from Palm Avenue. Out back, there was a huge green barn, a wash house, a vegetable garden, stables, a chicken coop, where now we have Walgreens and Rubio's.
Right.
And a water tower.
Okay.
So the property looked very different. The house and the park today are located on 2.5 acres of that original 20-acre purchase he made that he called Tesoro Ranch.
Okay, very good. Now, while we're here, are there some different features of the house that would be evident for someone? If we're a tour group coming in, what are some of the things that you'd be presenting to a tour group here?
Well, first of all, the house, I should mention, was opened in 1902, and it was designed by a friend of the family, James Stafford, as architect. It is a colonial revival architectural style, which is a takeoff, as I understand, on the Queen Anne architectural style.
Okay.
15 rooms, 7 bedrooms, and 1 bathroom.
Okay.
Interesting, but they did have indoor plumbing.
Right.
Bradford was quite wise. He both plumbed the house for gas and also wired it for electricity, knowing that electricity was coming this way.
Okay.
The house was built in just 6 months for $8,000, and it is 5,000 square feet, including a full basement.
My goodness.
Now, as you look out here, and you would see nothing but citrus trees, but you can notice the stonework around the base of the house. Those were made from rocks gathered from the Santa Ana River by A.S. or Alfred
Okay.
Sumner Bradford and his sons, who would go fishing at the Santa Ana River, and they would bring back wagon loads, and that forms the foundation here in the front of the house. Notice the large wraparound porch. That's where you entertain guests. They had no air conditioning, sort of like
Right.
our patio today. There'd be guests sitting out here sipping lemonade before they went in, perhaps for an event. As you go around the sides of the house, I've mentioned the full basement. The whole size of the plot of the house is all basement on the bottom floor. And there are windows on each side, 3 sides of the basement, so there's natural light, which you often don't find in an underground basement. So
Right.
you can see the windows at ground level that lead to the basement.
Okay.
There are 7 doors downstairs leading to the outside, which I'm sure had something to do with fire and the ability to escape,
Right.
since the only heat and cooking was by a fireplace and an old wood stove originally.
Okay.
There's the main door, entered only by guests. There's a door in both the dining room and the parlor. There's a door into Bradford's office. There's a door into the kitchen. There's a door into the cellar. So there are actually 7 doors, which is kind of a unique architectural feature.
Right.
Those are the things that come to mind on the outside of the home.
Okay. Terrific. Hey, you might not have a porch like this, but maybe at your house you have something similar where you entertain friends outside. Leave your answer in the comments below.